Okay guys, so we are going to start with Windows Server 2019, and in today's video we are going to discuss some administrative principles and the tools, uh, Windows 2019 Server introduction, and Windows Server core information like how we can administer the Windows core, and step-by-step deployment of Windows 2019 Server along with domain controller. So we will cover all these part today. Let me quickly start with the Windows Server Manager, one of the administrative tool. And with the help of Server Manager, we can administrate our server as well as we can add, remove roles, add various services, features from Server Manager. And side by side, I will show you the lab work also in the theoretical concepts. So let me quickly have a look on this. I'm just connecting it to Windows Server. I will let you know further how can we deploy the server and use server for the administration. Okay, let me connect one server here. Okay, so this is the console of the server manager. You can simply, once you start a server, it's automatically get open. If you want, you can simply click on start. You will get a server manager option here. From start menu, a start button, you can start your server manager. Once you start your server manager, you will get an option to administrate your server, as well as you will get options to add and remove features. From here, you can see the local services which are already installed are listed here. And same as you can add roles and features from this option, this wizard. I will let you know further in the upcoming videos how we can install, deploy the features. In today's video also, we will discuss this in more detail. If you click on the tools from here, you will get various tool options like you can open resource monitors, services, PowerShell, and once you deploy DNS, DHCP, and other server roles, you will also get options here. So I will discuss those in this video in detail later on. Okay, now let me going back to the my section. So this is the server manager. I will and it's installed by default at your system. The other one part is comes as in Windows Server Remote Administration Tools or RSAT tools. These tools you can deploy it on your Windows 10 or Windows 8.1 like on the client computers or any other member server. Also you can deploy these remote administration tool. So with the help of these tools you can manage your server administration remotely. You need not to log in on your domain controller. You need not to log in on your server to administrate your environment. You can simply use the remote administration tools, and with the help of these tools you can easily manage it from your desktop or from your client computer. So as the security prospects, if you need to go in this option or use the Windows Server Administration tool, you can use the RSAT tools. We will discuss this further in the practical environment how it's going to. Windows PowerShell. This is an commandlet base interface through which you can administer your server. You have to just play the commands and you can execute the set of instructions that are associated with the commands. It's just like an DOS or a command line interface, and it's more powerful. So sometimes the things that you can perform it from a GUI interface more convenient as if you are doing it through PowerShell. And scripting and the other parts are also available. So you can simply go in the server, you can check Windows PowerShell is available here. You can simply click on Windows PowerShell. Major things are there. One is CMDlets or commandlets. Uh, Commandlets are basically the set of command that you have to execute, and the modules. Module is a set of commandlets that are associated with a specific type of product. Suppose you are installing a DNS role. You are installing a WSUS role. or you are installing another software package, for example, Microsoft Exchange, SharePoint, SCOM. So in that case, their set of module is also associated with your PowerShell. So you can administrate the specific type of environment with the help of commandlets that require a module. For example, if you would like to manage Exchange environment, you must have an Exchange commandlet module that once you're installing an Exchange, it's automatically integrated. Same as the different type of applications where the different type of modules require, it's automatically getting associated when you are installing, or you can manually install the modules also. Okay, when we are talking about Windows 2019 server, so Windows 2019 we have a four editions: Windows 2019 Essential, Standard, Data Center, and the Hyper-V. So mainly we have to use in the production environment the standard or a data center, two types of editions. Hyper-V could be used as per the specific requirements. Same as the essential is the beginner level, or you can say a initial testing level uh, edition that you can for the testing purpose or just for the deployment purpose. You can test it out. It's better you can always go for the standard licensing or a data center licensing if you are working in a production environment. The basic hardware requirements. See, these are the things that are minimum requirement for Windows 2019. 1.4 gigahertz processor, 512 megabytes of RAM, and 32 gigs of RAM. This is as per the basic requirement that required to run Windows 2019 server. But it would be totally depend how many roles you are going to put on your server, what would be the workload and analysis. Accordingly, you have to use Windows 2019 server hardware requirement, and you have to choose the hardware requirement as per your utilization of your server. Okay, there are two types of deployment and the installation of Windows 2019, same as the previous versions. The first part comes as a clean installation. The clean installation says you are going to install 2019 on your fresh machine. There's nothing exist with your uh, system, like it doesn't have any existing software. You have a blank server available and you are going to deploy it over there. The other installation part comes as in form of it's an in place upgrade where the already existing operating system is running. It could be 2016 server or a 2012 R2. Two backward servers compatibilities are supported in this server. So either you can use 2012 R2 or 2016 server if you are going to use in place upgrade, and you can simply execute the setup media, or you can say run the setup and you can deploy it 2016 over there, sorry 2019 over there. And the same as if you are going for the clean installation, you need not to worried about the existing OS. You have a blank server, you can go ahead and deploy it. When you're installing a Windows 2019 server, it could be a clean installation or could be a in place upgrade. In both way, you have an option to choose with desktop experience or without desktop experience. So you are going to deploy a server core installation. Server core is basically a command line based interface. It doesn't have an GUI interface. So if you are going to deploy it from server core meta pattern, you have to do all the administration or everything should be through commandlets only. If you are going to use the desktop experience, then you will get an graphical user interface. I will just quickly show you one of the server core deployment section. We have already deployed that server. I will show you how we can deploy it or how we can choose it. In the meantime, it's getting connected. Let me quickly cover up. Okay, so Here in this scenario, once you are deploying a in-place upgrade, always it's recommended to keep your backup of your existing files, applications, and everything. But do remember one more thing: when you are doing an in-place upgrade, make sure the applications that are already installed at your existing operating system must be compatible with 2019. If those are not compatible with 2019, obviously you will get issues. You will be unable to manage those applications, and might be applications getting crashed also. Okay, so this is what we have in server core. Everything is in blank mode, or you can say a black, just single screen once you install this. And if you have a GUI support, you can see the interface would be like this for Windows Server. So this is your desktop experience, and this is your server core experience. It would be recommended server core when you require a more security and require a limited graphical administration associated with your server. Still, you can manage your server codes through remotely with the help of desktop experience servers. Okay, now coming to the what's new in your Windows 2019 server. So the couple of things are added in 2019. Yes, from 16 version. If we go on the initial base prospects, the first one is the Windows Admin Center. Yes, it was introduced earlier still, and now is still available in 2019. Here you can see a little bit enhanced interface. I will show you how you can manage with the Windows 2019 Admin Center, the section. The second one is deduplication of REFS volume. We knew that like REFS was introduced earlier as a file system instead of NTFS and FAT32, the older ones. So here we have an functionality available. So deduplication is supported in 2019 Windows Server. We will talk about this in upcoming videos in more details, because here we are just talking about the initial features or the things that are get is introduced in 2019. The cluster set functionality. So here it's a cluster set is large scale out, and you can set a number of groups, multiple failure clusters, and with a single master endpoint. So a couple of things are there that are introduced, and I will let you in upcoming videos when we talk about cluster in more details. Then we have a Windows Defender, Advanced State Protection, and Windows Defender Exploit Guard. So this functionality earlier it available with Windows 10, and now they have added this in Windows 2019 server also from the server prospect. So it would be good, and it will secure your environment. Shield protection for VMs of Linux, that will protect your attacks on the Linux-based virtual machines which are exist in your environment. Then we have an functionality of server core app compatibility that is also available, and add-on functionality. So you can easily manage your server cores. That mostly those are available in desktop experience, but yes, this thing is available with your server core edition. These are the major component, and apart from that, a lot of other things are also added, like Azure Stack Hypervisor as an additional feature, storage migration services. So these are the additional things that are also added in 2019 server, and storage class memory support is also added. So we may talk about these things in detail in upcoming videos when we go in detailed discussion. If you're talking about server core and desktop experience differences, so both have their own advantages and the disadvantages. If you're talking about this, like obviously the space is less required, server core install the fewer components, obviously server roles and the services are not available, In server core, if you're talking about, you cannot install the several applications. Obviously, the application that required GUI support or support that administration require a GUI support, you cannot install it in server core. Obviously, the attack surface and vulnerable points are restricted as less as compared to if you're talking about server core. So these are the basic difference between Windows Server Core and the desktop experience. Obviously, desktop experience is your more rich as compared to server core, but server core have their own advantages. Okay, so in your Windows 2019, we have an sconfig tool is still available, and with the help of this, you can administrate your command line interface with the help of a small graphical interface environment. Let me show you this tool. If you go on the server core and just type sconfig, once you press enter, you can see the administrative details of your server is available here. There are a couple of commands like log off users, log off, restart the server, shut down the server, network settings, date and time settings, domain workgroup. If you'd like to add the server in your domain, you can simply choose the option one and add it. You'd like to rename the computer, you can see I can just put it out to, okay, the computer name. It's asking enter new computer name, blank to cancel, or you can enter it the name here. So I've just added SVR1CO server core. I'm adding it CO1. Okay, so I have taken it as a name now. Okay, it will ask, obviously whenever you are applying and computer name changes, it's required to restart your server. So that's what it's asking about. If I can go ahead and restart it, and further it will rename your system name. And obviously, okay, I haven't taken out the boot media, that's why it's giving me option. Okay, now you got that. Control Alt Del to unlock your machine. It's asking password for the signing in. Let me administrate. Okay, now you can see we're back on my screen, server core. Okay, so you can see the server name is changed. Currently server is in workgroup. Once we deploy Active Directory, then we can move ahead and check it out this. Okay, so now let me quickly jump to the some administrative activities. How to install Windows Server 2019. The first section, I'm going to do it right away. I have taken out a virtual machine. If you have physical server, you can just simply put your IS DVD or ISO associated with your server. I'm going to attach it Windows 2019 ISO here. Okay, I have added that. Now, once I start my machine, it will ask to boot it from drive media. In the servers, you can also do the same thing. It will start, and once it start, then it will connect your Windows 2019 installer and start deployment of this. Just wait for a couple of moments. So initially it will take time to load the initial files because it's deploying initial installers. at your server, and that's why it's taking a little bit time. And once it's started, then it will start copying files and everything. Let me just quickly show you the couple of options what are available when you are going to clean install. Here we are going to do a clean installation. Further, once we go in the deployment phase in upcoming videos, then I will show you how to upgrade in place. Okay, just click on next. The licensing part is there. Now you have an option to repair your system also here. If you already have a server and it's get crashed, so you can choose the repair your computer option. Now I'm going to install now, so we can install. And what I will show you, I will show you the Windows 2019 installation in this video, and then okay, so before going to proceed on this, you can see the server 2012 standard evaluation because I have taken it evaluation DVD or ISO. So I'm getting this option. If you go on this, you can see the desktop experience, and these are the basically two simple ones. These are core server co-installation, and these are two with desktop experience. So I'm taking it 2019 data center edition with desktop experience. Just click on next. It will ask for the licensing agreement. You have to just read out the agreements and then you can accept the terms and license. I'm clicking on next. Here you have an option to upgrade and custom installation. If you are running it from the DVD, you can upgrade it with the existing version if you already have, or if you want to customize. So I'm taking it as a customized ones. So I will be getting more options and I can choose the things as per my requirement. Here you can see there's unallocated space is available because I have taken a drive which is associated with the server, and drive I haven't created any partitions, etc. So it's giving me this option if I would like to use this space, or you can simply create it from here. The size, you can specify a size of your drive, how much size you need to put it here. I have taken it 60 gigs of a disk space. Okay, once you're creating a drive space, it will automatically create Windows default partitions, couple of let me have a look on this once it's done. Okay, you can see the system reserve partition is also created. It's by default 550 megabytes, and this one which I have created around 60 gigs. It's still unallocated space. I will utilize it further. So I've taken a drive selection, or if you already have an existing partitions, you can simply choose the partition from here and click on next. Now it will start copying files and finishing up further. Most of the thing, like once it's finished, I will get back to continue on this. So I'm just skipping up the basic base part when it's taking up a time to installation. Might be it will take a one or two times reboot in this. And once the server is getting ready, we will continue on this. Okay, so now our environment is ready and the server is ready with us. So after reboot, now you once it's completed, you can see the default built-in administrative account. It will ask for the password of your built-in account. I'm just adding a password here. Okay, and once you click on finish, your server would be ready to log in. So you can see the installation is very simple. Okay, let me install. And now my environment is ready. I'm going to log in it on this. Once you log in on the server, the couple of things you have to do when you are going to install Windows Server domain controller. So before going to deploy a domain controller, the things you always have to consider. The first part, I will let you quickly note down the things here. Let me show you. what you have to do if you're going to deploy it on this. Okay, I'm opening a notepad here to just put a couple of things. Okay, you can see it here. Once I have installed that server, the default server manager and the server manager dashboard is open now. And this is the first look of your Windows 2019. Here you can see the Windows options, everything is there. I'm just opening a notepad to write a couple of things. Once before you are going to deploy a Windows 2019 domain controller, what all the things you have to setting up. The first one, you have to rename, sorry, I'm just typing it here. Rename your computer name. Then the next thing, need to set IP address. After that, you can deploy, you are ready to go for deployment of Active Directory. But before deployment of Active Directory, one more thing, you need to decide you are going to put your DNS along with AD or Active Directory. Yes. So you have to choose this part, like if you're going to deploy the DNS along with AD or not. So now I'm going to do it. The first section is the rename of your computer account. Then we will set an IP address and then we will choose deployment of our Active Directory. Okay, so quickly change the name. Just click on computer account. Here you can't see that this computer is not available. So you can type it out, this computer or this PC. Okay, it's taking time to search. So let me quickly open a taskbar. Right click on your this computer. Okay, you will get an computer system properties. This option you can also open it from your control panel. You can see the computer name is mentioned here. And just the most important part, must activate your Windows before going to deploy any rule if you are in production. I haven't activated it till now. Okay, now I'm just changing a computer name and I'm going to put the name as DC1. Clicking on OK, it will ask to reboot your computer as a mandatory step. So I'm just going to reboot it. Restart now. And 2019 is also a very fast, quick as compared to previous versions. Like starting of server is quick as compared to the existing versions. Later on, you can also remove your DVD from your virtual machine or your physical box. Okay, so now my server is ready. After reboot, the name is changed. Now, as a part of deployment, you have to choose your date and time section also. Like you must set up your date and time. Sorry, you must set your date and time from here, like the time zone. I have taken it as in users in Canada at this moment. You would like to change it for your current time zone because it's a default one and here I'm going to put it as a plus 5:30 Chennai, Kolkata, Mumbai, and Delhi as in time zone. Okay, because these are the prerequisites or the pre-things that you must deploy when you are building a domain controller. Okay, now you can see the server is ready. You can just click on local server. You can see the name is updated. You can also simply click on this to rename your computer. Okay, so now going to dashboard, back on the dashboard from the left side, and I'm going to add Active Directory role here. So just click on this, add roles and features. Click next. Next, then you can see the IP address. Okay, so we missed that part, right? I'm just going to cancel it here. Right click on this and open network in internet settings. You can see the IP's addresses information is listed here. From here you can change your Ethernet connection, change the adapter options. You can click on this, you will get this box, and the shortcut is also available for this. You can simply click on start and click on run. The run box would be available. You can simply type ncpa.cpl, press enter. This is the commandlet. You need to type ncpa.cpl. Okay, you will get the same window here. Okay, right click on this, click on properties. From here you can select the IP address. I'm disabling IPv6 at this moment, removing it, and at IPv4 I'm putting an IP address. So you must have an allocated IP address range if you are running in the production. You have to discuss this with your network team and allocate the available IP for this. I've taken it one of the IP here. I'm putting it as the same one. Right now we don't have an gateway, otherwise you have to put the default gateway here. I'm putting a DNS server name. IP is the same one here. Later on it will get removed, then I need to add it again as a part of Active Directory deployment. Click on OK, click on close. Okay, now going back to add remove roles, click next, click next. Now you can see still it's not refresh, so let me quickly have a look. Refresh the same. Okay, IP is updated now. So just going back on this, it's still not taking a current IP address. Let me relaunch server manager. You have to just wait for a few seconds when it's applied the new settings. Okay, now you can see it's updated. So just click next on that, and then you have to choose the Active Directory Domain Service, ADDS. It will also ask to install your administration tools. Just click on add, click next, click next. Active Directory Domain Services Azure AD integration is option is also available here, so we will discuss this later on. Click on confirmation, and one more thing, I think I missed that is your DNS server. You must add your DNS also along with this. Okay, now DNS and Active Directory. I'm clicking on install. So it's installing both DNS and the Active Directory. It will take a few seconds for the installation. Okay, you can see now the installation of this feature has been completed. Once the installation is completed, you will see the promote this server to a domain controller. See, there are the two things in your Active Directory installation. The first part is deployment installation of your role, and then the second part comes as an deployment of your Active Directory service. So the first part we have completed. We have installed the role. Earlier in the version, if you worked on 2008, 2008 R2 and all, you have an option to run the DC promo command it. So that will do the both work together, the installation role as well as promotion of your domain controller in the same wizard. But now in this server, you have to first install the Active Directory role, which we have done that. Now you need to promote this server as a domain controller. Once you click on this, you can see the deployment option is available. Here, there are a couple of options are there. Add domain controller to existing domain, add new domain to your existing forest, add new forest. So just we are going to add a new forest here because we don't have an existing forest available and we don't have an existing domain. If you have an existing domain, you would like to add your server as a domain controller in the same domain, you can choose this option. If you have an existing forest and you would like to add this one as a child domain or this one as a tree domain, that is an associated one, we will discuss this in upcoming video, how the difference between child and the tree domain. So you can choose this option. And here I'm going to just put an new domain. I'm taking it as an spl.com, one of the new domain name. I choose that, clicking on next. In this time, it will discover is there any other domain which is exist or conflict or not. It will take a couple of seconds. Here, there would be an option to deploy the DNS server along with same, which we have already done that. Forest functional level and the domain functional level, global catalog server and RODC if you'd like to put it. See here, it's basically with the server which you are going to deploy, it's the first one. First server in your domain, that's why these three options are disabled. If you are adding an additional server, you will get an option to RODC. We will discuss this later on. RODC is basically a read-only domain controller, copy of read-only copy of your existing domain controller, and global catalog server and the DNS server. So that must be need to deploy it here. And the forest functional level and the domain functional level, that determines the server, the domain which you are going to deploy must have at least this level of server as a domain controller. If we choose 2012, then we can put a 2012 server as a domain controller in our environment. If we choose 2008 R2, we can use 2008 R2 as a domain controller in our environment. But if we choose 2016 as a forest level, so we cannot put less than 2016 server as an operating system for the domain controller. The next part is the Active Directory Service restore mode password. When your Active Directory have a single domain available and it's get domain controller available and it's get crashed, so for the recovery purpose you have to use DSRM password, Directory Service restore mode password. You have to keep one password here and make sure you must have a record of this password for recovery purpose. Now just click on next. It will click next. I'm not going to DNS delegation. We will discuss this in the DNS section option. Now it will identify the NetBIOS name, like it's trying to search the same name as a NetBIOS name exists in the environment or not. Clicking on next. I will discuss this, the Active Directory and the Active Directory objects in detail in the upcoming video. Here you have to put that Active Directory database path, log files, and sysvol folder path. I will discuss these folders further in detail. So in this, you can specify the location of your directory services database path. You may keep it as it is default one, that is recommended by Microsoft also. Click on next. It will show you all the settings and the configuration which we have identified. You can also export your PowerShell script through which you can deploy domain controllers. And just I'm clicking on next. Now it's identifying the prerequisites for the installation, and further to that, it will start proceeding with the deployment. So you have to just click on the installation once the installation button is ready. Currently, it's verifying prerequisites of your domain controller. Once it's get finished, I will let you know. Okay, so all is ready except a couple of warnings are there. The pre-talks completed and we are ready. They are saying to install a cryptography algorithm, KB article and things. So you may ignore those warnings. It's not mandatory. And then now clicking on installation button. So it will start deployment of your Windows server. Just wait for a moment and once it's ready, I will let you bring you back here. Now you can see it's giving me an option you are about to sign out because the installation part is completed now and it's taking to reboot my server. Okay, it's getting restarted now because Active Directory installation was in progress and it's ready. Okay, now the server is still going in booting a state because it's take time once the first time it's installed and it's applying the computer settings, getting changes to server makers and domain controller. Okay, now back to the Windows welcome screen again. We can see here once we press Ctrl Alt Del. Now you can see the domain name is mentioned. Earlier it was just as an administrator. Now the domain is mentioned here. If you'd like to go for other user, you can choose the other user options. Currently, I have an only one user as an administrator. So I am logging with the default built-in account. As a recommended scenario, you always create an additional accounts for the domain administration and the login purpose and should not use the built-in account for administration. Now the server manager is getting updated. You can see it here. It's giving me a message to use Windows Admin Center for the administration. We will see that later on. Now you can see in the tools at the time of initially when we have started this video, I have shown you the same window drop down here. These options were not there, but now we have deployed Active Directory, Administration Center, Domain Trust. All these options are available because we have deployed the AD role here as well as the DNS server role here. So you can see the roles are available and these are the things, the various existing options. The same thing is also available here from DNS and Active Directory. With the help of this side window buttons, you can see the servers and their associated events. These events can be available in your event viewer section as similar as the legacy ones, the previous event viewer option, which we have used and seen that in previous version. You can see it here, the various, and the same events are also available which are associated with Active Directory. You can see as a filter view of those events here. Same as for the DNS, you can see the DNS associated events here. Okay, once your deployment is completed, now the next task is what you have to go back to your administration of network NIC card. You can see it's undefined network, it's just showing. Because when you deploy an Active Directory, it's in default structure. Okay, let me open first network settings. So by default, it will remove the default DNS which you mentioned and make it to localhost, that is 127.0. So I'm just going to re-back. Please make sure you must remember this option. When you're deploying first your domain controller, you can just add the DNS servers here. Okay, now we have done that. Okay, now it's DNS is configured. Let me quickly take and enable and disable this. Sorry, disable and enable this so we can. Okay, now it's connected with your spl.com, so we are good to go. Uh, okay, once we deploy your Active Directory, the next part, as at the initial level, we have taken out few things. This one, let me go back on this. So DNS along with AD, that is the good thing which we have done that. Now the next part comes when you are going to add your clients. Add clients. Okay, the next step, clients, or you can say a member servers, right? So before adding this, what you else you have to do this, you must install Active Directory certificate services. We do the work in ADCS further, but as a recommendation, you must install the Active Directory certificate services or install or configure. So this will help you. Okay, this will help you uh, for the certificate trusting issue. Like you should not get an error related to certificate services further, because whenever you are deploying an certificate services, you have to integrate it with Active Directory. And if you are doing it at initial stage, like before adding any member or the client server, so this certificate authority will become a part of trusted authority in their trusted box, or you can say a trusted container. I will discuss this in a next upcoming video. So I'm just going to add the certificate services here, and then we can go ahead and add the client. Okay, so I will discuss Active Directory certificate services in detail in the next video. But before that, I'm just going to add it from the same location. Click on add features, and it's going from the add rules and feature, the same box from the configure your this server. So I'm going to add certificate services, and now clicking next. It will ask for the certificate services web enrollment, and I'm just going to add two things here: certificate services web enrollment and certificate authority. These two things I am going to add it here. I will discuss this in details in the later stage in the next video. What is the difference, how we use, and what are the requirements of certificate authorities? So I'm just going to quickly add it here. Click on next. It will also, when you are choosing a certificate role as a web enrollment, uh, then it will ask to install the web server roles like IIS server roles along with the same. You can simply click on add and just click on next. So it will do the deployment. Okay, now I'm just clicking it and install. So it will take a couple of minutes to install this role. In the meantime, when it's getting updated, I'm just going on one of the member server to deploy it. Okay, let me just quickly start my one of the client, and this is my one of the server. Okay, let me quickly close this and okay. So I'm going to add it server one. This is my SVR one. The server one is ready. It's and here we have one of the client that is Windows 10 machine. So I'm going to add one server 2019 as a member server and one Windows 10 client as a member. Currently, I am just going back on this server. You can see the installation of your Active Directory certificate services are still going on. In the meantime, it's going on. Let me quickly have a look on our Active Directory. So just click on this and Active Directory users and computer. Okay, you can see the spl.com, my domain is there. And in my domain, there are a couple of things like domain controller. This one is domain. Currently, we don't have a computer exist here. We don't have an existing domain users, only the default built-in administrator account. So this is the fresh built installation of 2019, the things you will get. If you quickly change the view to advanced features, you can see some other boxes or the folders. I will discuss this in detail. What are these folders? Basically, these are the organizational units. I will discuss this in next video on this detail. So you can simply remove it from advanced feature here. Okay, and let me show you in the meantime our DNS also. We have an DNS server which we have installed, forward lookup zone. We are going to discuss this in upcoming videos in detail, and here is the option of your domain controller, which you can see it from here. Okay, so now you can see the certificate authorities are getting installed and these are ready to go. Yes. Okay, so just click on configure Active Directory certificate services. Click on this. You can see now you will get an option where the credential that used to authenticate role in your Active Directory or association in your Active Directory it's asking about. Okay, so I'm just clicking on next with the same credential, and I'm just going to configure both Active Directory web server enrollment as well as Active Directory authority. Clicking on next. uh, I will discuss this option in the next video in detail. What is the difference between enterprise CA and a standalone? Basically, enterprise CA is must be a part of domain member, and standalone is won't be a part of domain. It's an independent identity. So I'm going to take as an enterprise CA. So make this Active Directory certificate authority with your our Active Directory as an integrated one. This is my root CA, like the base CA one. Discuss this in detail. Subordinate CAs are the part of any existing CA, mostly used in the child domain or any hierarchical network design. Okay. Now we're going to uh, use the key length. So it will ask for the RSA based certificate key length where we have a 2048. You can customize it to 4096 or you can use 1026 also. But as a recommended one, present scenario, it must be at least 2048 size with the algorithms that used to sign in for the certificates. Okay. Next. Here you can put the name of your certificate authority. So I am just typing a name as SPLs-CA. You can choose the name as per your organization or as per your requirement. Just clicking on next. The default validity period for the certificate authority is the 5 years, which we have decided here. Further, we may extend or change it as per requirement. These are the location of your certificate databases. So the default path, recommended to keep the default one as it is, and just click on next and click on configure to finish it up. Okay, my client is ready to go. Okay, just click on close. Now our environment is ready to go for adding members as well as the client computers. So this part we have done that. Okay, now okay, now we are going to add a client. So before adding a client, what things you have to do at the client machine? The first part, these are the steps you have to do at client side. The okay, what you need to do on this, the first thing, set IP address. Okay, after deployment of your client machine. Point number two, you have to do, sorry, I think my keyboard little bit. Okay, now set IP address, then set your client name, then add to domain. So these are the three simple steps if you are adding your client machine to your domain controller. As we have seen that there won't be any computer is available because we haven't added any computer in your Active Directory. And at the server, you can see there is only a single record for in your DNS. I will check, I will work with you in the next videos to how you can create DNS record and everything. So now I'm just going to my SVR1, that is my member server. Currently, I can just show you. Okay, I can just show you one thing. We have not. Okay, you can see computer name, full computer name. It's nothing has changed, and still it's a part of work group, right? And same thing you can view it from here also. Everything is a part of work group. We have not changed anything here. So the first part we have to do is need to change the IP address of this computer. To change this IP address, we have to go with ncpa.cpl. It's a shortcut. You can also open it from right side here. Right click, open settings, or you can use the control panel option. So ncpa and cpl, I am going to this server machine. I must set an IP address for this computer. Make sure you must have an IP that that allows you network traffic till your domain controller. So IP range, root or routing path, everything should be mentioned accordingly. Okay, now the first you mention the IP address and subnet mask and default gateway, the basic information for the server which you got from network team. Then you have to add the preferred DNS server. Preferred DNS server is always the DNS server of your domain controller or the DNS server which exists. So here you can see our IP is 10.10, sorry, 10.00.11. This is my domain controller's IP address where the DNS server exists. So I need to put the same DNS server here. Make sure IP address as per your server, whatever is recommended, but the DNS server IP, it must be the same one that your DNS server have. That is here 11. So I place it as an 11 here. Click OK, click close, click close. So now its IP is placed. Now I'm going back to this server. You can see in the my member server. Now IP and everything is configured on this server. Let me quickly have a look on this. Okay, IP is configured, but it's still a part of computer is part of work group. So I'm just going to click on this. Now I got this system properties box. Just click on change. Here you have to put the name of your server, that is SVR. Currently I am putting it as 1. SVR1 is my server name, and now going on the more. Here you have to put your complete domain name, that is spl.com, which we have selected as a domain. Here you can simply click on domain, click on this, and then type SPL. So you can see I have just placed that spl.com, the complete domain name, DNS suffix along with, and here I place the name as domain, and now you can see this is the computer complete name. So I'm clicking on OK. Once I clicked on OK, it will try to connect to your domain controller and ask the domain privilege account password that is authorized to add users in your domain controller. Currently, I have one account only available at this moment, that is administrator. But if you have a dedicated account to add computers in your domain, so you can use the same one here. I am just putting a domain administrator and the password. Click on OK. It's taking a couple of minutes, and basically it's setting up your account at domain controller active directory. So when it's completed, then I will get an welcome box message. In the same time, I am doing it for the client one also. I'm just going to log in on my client one, SPL client one. This is my another machine where we have Windows 10. Okay, so now you can see it's welcome to SPL domain. Click on OK. It will ask to reboot your server. Click close and restart it. Okay, so in the meantime, my server SVR1 is getting restarted. I'm just going back on my client to 1. This is my Windows 10 machine, and I think I have disconnected the NIC card. So let me quickly add my network card here. Okay, just going on this network. Okay, see, not connected, so I'm connecting it to switch. Okay, okay, now it's connected and available. So first part, the same thing we have to do, which we have done earlier in the client. Click on next, set an IP address. Make sure in your DNS box you can put, and the preferred DNS server is the server of your domain controller DNS where the DNS exists. Okay, close. Okay, click close. Now I'm going to put this server also in the domain. Currently we don't have a server manager to setting up the thing, so you can just simply type this PC, right? Go to properties of your this PC. Okay, here you can just change the computer name as well as the domain box. The same box would be available here. I'm just putting it name client1 and suffix as spl.com is my domain. Putting the domain name here as SPL. You can put the complete DNS suffix name spl.com here also. Then need not to put the information as a suffix here. So it's up to you. You can see this is one, the complete FQDN. This is called a FQDN, complete fully qualified domain name, or FQDN. It's the complete name of your client. Okay, I'm just putting it IP's address. Now it's asking for the password, so I'm just adding it here once again. Okay, now it's done. See, SVR1 is ready now. So let me just quickly click on this in the meantime. Here you can see the administrator is there. That means you are logging on the local server account. You're not going to log in on domain account. So just click on other user, type spl/administrator or the account which your domain exists, domain account, sorry. Okay, just click on this. Now you are going to log in with the SPL administrator account. In the meantime, I'm going to reboot my client one. Okay, close it, and it will restart my client one. So SVR1 and the client one, these two are my members in my Active Directory. So it's quickly getting updated here. Let me go back on my domain controller. You can see the one record would be exist with SVR. It's an automatically updated record when we have added the server in the domain. And you can also see in the computer box, once you refresh it, you can see SVR1 and the client one. Both are exist here as a member of this domain because these are the member of this domain. Now in the meantime, what I can do, I'm just going to create a quick user account here. Let me create a new user account in this container. So I'm creating a CL user one. Okay, I'm going to create a quick user account as a CL user one, and let me quickly create it. Okay, I'm just avoiding the password at next logon. Okay, I'm just going to create a simple account. These options we will discuss in next video. So I have created a simple user account CL user one, and we are going to use this account to log on this client machine. In the same one, the client one, you can see it's a local default built account that used. Okay, now I'm just going back on domain login. Here SPL. We have created account CL user one. Now I'm going to put the password. So account which is created in your domain, and I'm going to log in with the same account at my Windows 10 machine. So this one which we used as a member server, and you can see it, I used to log in the account which is still created in our domain, that is sorry, this is SPL administrator. You can see the administrator.spl because it's an who am I. If I type, okay, let me go back on the my client one. Okay, so here you can also simply see it from here itself. Let me, okay, this is my CL1 which is a domain based account, and same as in the SPL1, I think. Okay, let me quickly show it from here. This is my profile ID. If I click on this, this is still a domain account, but yes, because I logged in through a SPL administrator. It's not an your local account on the server. Same as for the client one, this is also not an local account. This is also Windows 10 account, and this one is this SPL CL user 1. It's also a domain account. You are connected with your spl.com as a domain. Obviously, internet is not connected on this server, and most also recommended not to connect internet and your servers because that will create an issue. Okay, here you can also see the spl.com. Okay guys, so I'm going to stop my video here. At this moment we have discussed all the things related to domain installation, certificate services requirement and installation. I will discuss this in more detail in upcoming videos, and we have done successfully adding of our member servers as well as the client machines in our domain. This part I will cover it in my next video. So stay with us and do subscribe, like, and share our channel. Thank you so much.